All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining me. This is joining us. So it's been really such a pleasure talking to Peggy and Susie that you were in for such a treat this evening. This is Left Bank Books Presents Online marketing expert and illustrator Peggy Panosh and strategic communications advisor Susie Arons, who will discuss their new book, Billions of Besties, a celebration of fascinating and simply exceptional friendships. They will be in conversation with St. Louis's former Classic 107.3 station manager, Jim Connett. Left Bank Books is St. Louis's oldest independent bookstore. We celebrated 51 years this year. We would like to thank all of our supporters, the supporters of Peggy, Susie, and Jim, and everyone for their outpouring of love for our bookstore. We have adapted to the current situation and are bringing you the things that you love the most about Left Bank Books with curbside pickup and delivery to anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. We also have evening appointments available on our website, left-bank.com. We are very happy to be able to bring our event series virtual. We believe that events are a way to expand your mind and bring in new thoughts to make the world a better place. And I think that this event especially will help make the world a better place. We hope that you enjoy this event, and we hope that you support Left Bank Books by purchasing a copy for you, and especially for all of your besties at left-bank.com. Purchasing a copy of the book from Left Bank Books allows us to keep our bookstore and staff here through the most unusual of times. So thank you for your support. We need your support. I am Shane Mullen. I'm the events coordinator for Left Bank Books. I help produce our hundreds of author events each year with a fantastic team here in St. Louis. I want to thank them so much for helping with all of these events. We will be taking questions from the audience, you, at the end of the event, so please type your questions as a comment. And be sure to follow Left Bank Books on Facebook to be notified about all of our fantastic virtual events. Tonight's event. This beautifully illustrated and joyful tribute celebrates famous friendships, both real and fictional, and proves that there is no relationship more important than friendship. Our best friends are our soulmates. They understand us when no one else does, lift us up, and bring out the best in us. It's a relationship based on a bond that can't always be described, but is always magical. Billions of Besties shines a light on some of the most engaging, funny, inspiring, and sometimes unexpected sets of friends. In this gorgeous and playfully illustrated volume, creators and besties, Peggy and Susie, highlight more than 100 besties, both real and fictional, from all walks of life, from the comedic powerhouse of Amy Poehler and Tina Fey to the unexpected camaraderie between RGB and Antonin Scalia, the glamorous friendship between Anna Wintour and Roger Federer, or the fictional ride or die bond between Thelma and Louise. This book is a timeless salute to friendships in all its forms. Uplifting and charming, Billions of Besties celebrates the power and vitality of friendship, from bromances to work wives, reminding us that when we have each other's backs, we have the power to change the world. This is an incredibly timely book, an incredibly necessary book, and an inspiring book. Those are my words. Pop Sugar says, someone else's words, says, full of generous illustrations and odes to friendships, both real and fictional, Billions of Besties by Peggy Panosh and Susie Arons is a celebration of the power of friendship. Pick up a copy for yourself and go ahead and grab one for your bestie too, because this beautiful book will make a great gift. Peggy Panosh has carved a unique dual career path as both a highly respected marketing expert and illustrator. With more than 30 years in media and entertainment, Peggy has worked with some of the most prolific celebrities, namely Oprah, which I have to pause to plug our event tomorrow night. Oprah is going to be in conversation with one of our authors, Emmanuel Acho, tomorrow night. Tickets are available at left-bank.com on the event. If you go to the event tab, they are there. You can be in the glory of Oprah and Emmanuel tomorrow evening. So that's very exciting. Unpause. World-renowned events from the Grammys to the Super Bowl, creating memorable moments for audiences all along the way. As a passionate traveler, having explored more than 70 countries, Peggy's love for creating art was ignited during one of her many global adventures. Her illustrations capture the heart and spirit of the people, places, and moments that touch her soul. In fact, if you look very closely at her drawings, you will find a teeny tiny heart in each one. Peggy's illustrations have been seen on CBS Sunday Morning, and she was a featured artist at Soho House's Ludlow House in New York City. She splits her time between Brooklyn, New York, and Madison, Wisconsin, and more of her work can be seen at peggypanosh.com. Susie Arons is a strategic communications advisor working with some of the most recognized names in entertainment, lifestyle, and media. She has honed her writing skills, penning billions of messages throughout her 30-plus year career. Some people might say she has also been a professional bestie to some of the besties in the business, including Netflix, HBO, Color Force, Marlo Thomas, How We Got Introduced, the Defiant Ones, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, and many, many more. Inspired every day by her colleagues or poolside with her treasured circle of friends and family, Susie learned early to lead with her heart, be smart, and always keep the joy. And Panosh and Arons will be in conversation with St. Louis's former Classic 107.3 station manager, Jim Connett. And now, without further ado, I would love to welcome Peggy Panosh, Susie Arons, and Jim Connett for Left Bank Books. And if you all at home would help me welcome them, hello, welcome.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi, Jim.
nice job.
Hi, Jim.
Shane.
Hi, Suze. Hi, Shane.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Peggy.
Boy, what a group! I've got to tell you, these are besties off the hook. I feel like Carl Sagan when billions of besties coming in. You know, he used billions like it was nothing, and you made it enormous with besties. Wow, you've got a lot of work to do.
I thought we were done.
No, I am not done. I am not done. The thing is we know you're not done because you have really come up with something that is spectacular and so much of a need as of now. And with Left Bank Books, I've got to tell you what, being in St. Louis, and I mean, you hear about the 1904 World's Fair. The next thing you know about is Left Bank Books, because they always have a slot in their cabinets, in their shelves, for books that you won't find anyplace else. And the staff is terrific. They've been going through a hard time, but they've made it through with pick up by curbside. And you know what? The recommendations when you walk by and you look in the window are actually read by the staff. So I can't say anything that would keep it from being really an international site in St. Louis for independence.
Thank you.
Sean, thank you so much.
We're so
Let's
honored.
get into oh, and most authors are actually when they come to town. Let me get started by everything starts with a germ of an idea, or a lightning bolt strikes, or Peggy, tell me the genesis of this idea, and then did a wave come in and wash over you with so much?
Jim, I love that you said wave, because there's Susie's pool is involved in this origin story. So wave is apropos. So I was actually, it was July of 19. I was actually driving from my apartment in Brooklyn, New York, to Susie's house in New Jersey, which is about a half-hour drive. And I was listening to an interview on NPR. Beanie Feldstein was talking about her process of researching friendships and studying friendships for her role in Booksmart. And, I was thinking about it, and it was just a totally delightful and engaging and really wonderful conversation, and it really got me thinking about friendships and, like the different friendships in my life, my friendship with Susie, and then I started thinking about, like the different friendships in the world. And I thought, God, there's billions of them. There's billions of besties. So when I got to Susie's house, I walk in to the door like mid-sentence, and I said, Susie, what about doing a book? We'll call it Billions of Besties. And like with anything, Susie just picks it up from there. And she's like, yeah, right. And that's kind of how it started. It all kind of went very fast.
Yeah, I mean, we got out a legal pad, and Bob, my husband, we were going to go in the pool, but he delayed our entry, so we sat by the pool. And
by the way, I'm still, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're a little bitter.
Yeah,
but the good news is that we got a book out of it. We'll put the anger aside, bitterness, and we love him. But we just started writing out friends. We go, Oprah and Gail, Tina and Amy, Beyonce and Kelly, and we just came up with this list, and it just on this legal pad, and it just went on and on. And it was like, no, we can't just stay in pop culture. We have to go here. We have to go there. And so then that week, Peggy sent out an email to friends, and so then I sent one out, and we just said, you guys, who would you think of for friends, and who are best friends? And people sent us ideas and notes and thoughts, and one friend sent back a note about macaroni and cheese, and she and her husband had a big debate about it because they didn't really think they were friends. One thought it was colleagues, and it was a whole thing. Anyway, the next weekend, Peggy came back out again, and we did it again. And there are a whole pile in the parking lot that didn't make it into volume 1.
And how, Susie, share how Serena Williams and the U.S. Open is involved in our story.
So we then decided that, so Peggy was very fortunate, and she met this wonderful woman through another one of Peggy's besties. Jen Hawkins introduced Peggy to Teresa DeMasi, who's at Tiller Press, which is Simon & Schuster, and said, we have these ideas, because we had another idea too about a book, and we don't know anything about a book, and what's the idea? So Peggy said, I love that idea. Sure, I love it. Write it up.
And she said, do you know how to write a book proposal? And I said, no. And I said, we've never done it before. So she said, okay, well, you can make it an outline, blah, blah, blah. So I went back out to the pool.
So we love going to the U.S. Open. And so we bought tickets to the U.S. Open. Peggy came out. We were going to write our book proposal and then go to the U.S. Open. And it was a little possibly going to rain. Maybe it was a little cloudy out. And we looked at the sky and we're like, well, if we go and then we get caught in the rain, that would be such a bummer. Maybe we'll just watch it on the outdoor screen that's at the pool, and we'll stay in our pajamas and have coffee, and Bob will make us breakfast and redeem himself. And we will write our book proposal because it has to be in tomorrow. And that's what we did, and wrote our proposal, which we really don't know how to do a proposal because we never did a book, and we got it in and watched the U.S. Open, by the way, and put our tickets on StubHub and got the money back.
But I really think that this book, with the crowdsourcing that we did with our friends and our family, this book really is by friends, about friends, and for friends.
Yeah.
So it really is, it's really true to form.
And then
the variety.
We had to research. And it was like
we had to do it. And the thing is, Susie's a first-time writer of this kind of work. I'm a first-time illustrator. We were both. I was actually starting a 9-city arena tour with Oprah, and Susie's the president of a big PR firm. So we did this on the side, like in between.
jobs.
On airplanes and hotel rooms and
And I was changing jobs. You know,
Wow.
nothing big.
So all this research and thing is happening post-COVID, right?
It started last fall. And then I finished illustrating the book during COVID, between March and the beginning of May.
Well, Peggy actually, Peggy, tell when you decided to move to Wisconsin.
So I had finished doing the 9-city arena tour with Oprah on March 7th, went back to New York and realized that things are getting pretty challenging in New York. So I drove to my sister and brother-in-law have a home in the Door County Peninsula in Wisconsin. So I went there, and that's where I sheltered in. Drew the book, and literally Susie and I, and we did most of the production work of the book with Susie in New Jersey, me in Wisconsin, the publisher in New York, the art directors in New York. We did everything virtually. So we were like each other's lifelines. We were creatively, creating this book, and so for me, it was a great way to, get lost in something that was completely joyful and beautiful and heartwarming during a time that was none of those.
How did you find that the craziness when you think about it, like a Hunter Thompson and Pat Buchanan? I knew of RGB and Scalia, but I mean Hunter Thompson and Pat Buchanan. I mean, that's just one of the many.
Well, and that's that chapter, the unexpected chapter. I think it's one of both of our favorites, and especially now because it shows that people who are really different, if you look at RBG and Antonin Scalia, and Hunter Thompson and Pat Buchanan, they were very, very different in what they believe in and what they stood for. But they were able to they were able to come together and genuinely enjoy each other's friendship and company. And though their differences were very extreme, they were able to find the warmth and respect and generosity and empathy and compassion for each other. And they had fun. Hunter Thompson and Pat Buchanan talked to each other every day for, the last how many years.
And the lawyers at Simon & Schuster did not believe that they were friends. And we used the New York Times bar of having to have 2 corroborating sources on research. So even on stories that we knew that were factual, I still during the research went in and had 2 corroborating sources. I had 5 on that one because they kept sending it back to me saying, nope. And I said, here's the footnote. Nope. Here's another source. Nope. And I said, do you want me to exhume the dead? Like, this is from Pat Buchanan's papers. These are from Hunter Thompson's words. And they really stood up for one another when they were on the press bus. They stood up for one another. And again, they could not have been more distant in their political beliefs, in their philosophical beliefs, but they respected each other's differences, and they respected one another's ability to have and freedom to have those beliefs.
Can I also say that if you want to do something really entertaining, watching Susie Arons tackle with attorneys about an issue like this, it's really fun to watch.
It's fun to hear. I've been on the receiving end of those.
It's infinitely entertaining.
Absolutely. So you guys love what you do, and it's amazing that to me, it's amazing that you find somebody, that soulmate, that bestie, that really has not only ideas but talent and the ability to really persevere through a lot of things that are going on while you're doing this. Having that all heaped on everything that you do, but there's a lot of love in what you're doing, and I know that you had really, really great. I'd love to do this. This one I'm really gonna love to do. Could you tell us about those moments?
I will say that we bolstered one another at very different times when we were never down at the same time. And that was really helpful. And both of us have a very high standard, but we also have a very high bar for our humor. And our humor gets us through a lot. And so that generosity of both humor and spirit is one of the bonds of our friendship. And we hear one another and we're very honest with each other. And the honesty of our friendship is so critical to the longevity of our friendship.
And also just, like we have fun. We this book is like it really does reflect who we are. We let it's in the same way that this book is like positive and fun and delightful and witty and kind of smart, but a little, that's kind of like what we are. So I think it's a definite reflection of our energy. And also, there is, I love Susie. Susie has can I say who your client who said you were gangster? She has a client, yeah. Joni Hill, and he's like, Susie Arons is gangster, and she is. Susie has like an amazing value, right? And Jim, right?
Oh,
Susie,
I've received some of the gangster.
Right. And there's a whole thing about cars and dynamites, as I learned earlier, that but so it's like when you have a cherished friend that you're creating something that you also cherish. It's sort of like a really great recipe for something awesome. And so it's a little piece of delight. Plus, it was fun. Like, it was fun coming up with the chapters. It was fun laying out the book. It was fun, drawing them. It was fun reading, Susie's words after she would write stuff and say, it was fun getting feedback from the publisher. It was fun working with the art director. It was a lot of fun doing it.
And then there were times when there were moments we had to take some people out, and we would call each other and we're like, and we never disagreed on any of it. It was,
what Susie means by taking people out, as the book evolved, we had way more than would fit in here. And also there were, timely things that happened that we had to do some shifting. But we have a whole notebook.
Yeah. And
I believe
what we call the parking lot. And so there's some people in the parking lot. We hope they'll come back. And so they're just waiting to drive back in.
Have the valet bring them the car.
With all that billions of sand granules going through the hourglass, and how do you do that? how is that possible to grab what's coming through that?
You know, we were very deliberate that we did not just want to stay in the present, and that we wanted to be sure that we captured friendships that were historically meaningful. The change makers was so important, that people recognized who you built your success on the shoulders of others. And those people, like the Ella Fitzgerald and Marilyn Monroe friendship, people need to recognize that Ella Fitzgerald, through her entire career, always recognized that Marilyn Monroe opened the doors for her, that her career would not have started. It wasn't about her talent. Her talent was brilliant. She couldn't get through the door. She couldn't get through the front door, she couldn't get through the kitchen door, let alone the front door. And that Nelson Mandela and Bishop Tutu were so bonded in different ways. And John Lewis, my God, that was so meaningful with Dr. King. So it was so important to us. And Marlo and Gloria Steinem, they didn't even know each other. And they're, to this day, they have their girls' night in with other women, and they do it together. They are change makers. And Marlo came from a very privileged home, and Gloria came from a chaotic home, and they found one another, and they opened the door for one another and walked through with and brought other women with them. So it was important for us to find that the style makers were important. So we wanted to make sure that we accounted for people who were important, not just in pop culture moments, but
not to diminish the pop culture moments. Like
no.
Lizzo and The Truth was one that, made both of our hearts sing. And Prince and Janelle Monáe and Ariana Grande and Miley Cyrus, and Spike Lee and Samuel L. Jackson.
And I have to, Peggy, your choices when you drew Prince in his iconic outfit, and then Janelle Monáe wearing the Christian Siriano, capturing those images, those were really brilliant.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Susie? It was what? I'm sorry. Really?
I say brilliant. Did I say really brilliant?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And you know what, Susie? Honestly, your origin stories were absolutely riveting. Riveting.
You don't know about the words. The illustrations are so
brilliant, Susie. You said brilliant.
Captivating.
Yeah.
Captivating. Let me put it on my whiteboard.
You seem to have so much fun together. What if there's somebody out there that doesn't have a bestie? Is this book a guide to that, or can it be?
I think it starts with being your own. And there's two people in the book that Iris Apfel and also Lizzo, where it's like, these are two women, two iconic women that clearly have a great understanding and love for themselves. And I think that was so inspiring to me. I think that a connection of friendship it's like we were saying earlier, there's an alchemy, there's a magic that brings people together. And sometimes you can't explain it. Sometimes it's just an energy. But I think that what I find is that if I walk around, sort of move around my world with an open heart, and an open mind, and allow for that, people kind of genuinely, naturally connect with each other. And also there's different kinds of besties. And, there are people that I've known for over 40 years that are, like best friends. There are people I've known for only a year that I can also say genuinely that they're best friends. So I think that, but I think fundamentally it's that you start with yourself and your relationship with yourself, and that allows you to be a good friend to others.
You say that a lot, and I think it's important. You say that the notion of an open heart, and I think that is so important. And I think a lot of times people, as a defense mechanism, will close up, or they'll say something sarcastic or shady because they're nervous. And I understand that. And the Book Smart movie is a really lovely, wonderful movie. The two characters had each other. They just had each other. You only have to have one friend. And then they went off into the world and they lost each other for a second. So if you're worried about having oodles and oodles of friends, you don't worry. Just have you, and if you want, have one more. That's all you need.
The other thing, it's like Brene Brown says, we're all perfectly imperfect, and friendships are not perfect. And so I think that there's a way, in the same way that we're, the way I'm vulnerable with my friends and family and the people, who I love and who love me. I'm not a perfect person. My friends are not perfect, and we have to allow for that too.
Tell us about the Toni Morrison story.
Oh, so
that blows me away.
Yeah. So Fran Lebowitz, who we think is one of the most prolific writers, and she's written many, many essays, but she hasn't written very many books, and is very, stuck in her world of gray, black, and white. Befriended and just adored Toni Morrison, who was an editor at her publishers, and she would just go and sit in her office, and she just was so enamored and was so happy that she knew her, and she talked to her, and Toni Morrison almost lost her job because Fran Lebowitz wouldn't leave her alone. And Toni Morrison just is so brilliant, and she's just a master of words, and you have to read her books so many times to you understand them, but to really understand them and get to the soul of them. But Toni Morrison was so beautifully dressed, and she cared about how she looked, and she wanted to, she loved color and her hairstyle, and she cared about those things. And she had to ask Fran Lebowitz actually to leave her office because she wouldn't lose her job. But she had this sense of wonder, this sense of playfulness, and she would call Fran Lebowitz and say, "Honey, let's go play bingo in Connecticut at the casinos." And Fran Lebowitz, who doesn't really think that the world exists outside of Lower Fifth Avenue, except Elaine's, which is on the Upper East Side. For people that don't know, it used to be, there was this, wonderful gathering hole for writers. And, that's where she would go. She'd go uptown and then to her place uptown. And Toni Morrison was like, no. And we're going in a limo, and it's going to be white. Like, she was extravagant, and we're going to go to McDonald's and get French fries. Like, they were polar opposites. And, Toni Morrison was larger than life. Fran Lebowitz is this big. So again, they just, the visual of the two of them is so opposite, and the personalities are so opposite, and there was just joy. And that research took me forever because I got waylaid. I just sat back. I was like, I have to, I could only write 200 words. I'm like, oh, are you kidding? Oh my God, I have a deadline. And it took me forever because I had to then cut it down because it was so much fun reading about them. So
you've broken this up into different sections, and one of the, I mean, the second chapter is like below, does one of these to your head, and then the other ones are just like, oh, I thought there was something there, and then you go into it, because you do rock stars, you do theater people, and you do movie stars, and you do all that. But there's so much more as just kind of a little vignette of, see, this is what this is about. Peanut butter and jelly. That's what that's about. That's why they belong together.
And peanut butter and jelly is very dear to my heart. So I actually just put in my perfect way of making peanut butter and jelly, which I just want to take one moment to remind people that after you make your perfect peanut butter and jelly sandwich, to set it aside and make sure that you order books at leftbankbook.com, and then go there, pick up your books curbside, then go home, pour a tall glass of milk, cold milk, and have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich while you're reading your book. Do not order. You can order your milk from Amazon. You can order your plates from Amazon, but you're getting your books at Left Bank.
And seriously,
Yeah.
we love indies and we love Left Bank. And like Jim was saying at the top of our conversation, indie bookstores are like the heartbeat of, the literary world. And it's really important to all of us that, we keep them going and we keep them alive. And you guys are so fortunate in St. Louis to have such a legendary and iconic and also just warm and like wonderful, not only like bricks and mortar store, but just like such incredible people.
Yeah, and you can make memories at a bookstore. You cannot make memories at a online bookstore. Bring your kids there, bring your nieces and nephews and your friends. Just like you can have a memory of having story time at Left Bank, but you can't have story time at your computer.
You know what, Susie? You can have story time with your besties at Left Bank.
When you do it, a billion of them.
Billions of them.
One.
Yes.
So I
100%. Shane's ordering them right now. I'm sure. Certainly when I look at Eric Clapton and George Harrison, and it just brought back so many memories of the kind of things that you go through in a bestie situation. It isn't all the best, but it does have the civility to understand that I understand that, but I'm still civil and I still like this person.
I like the Stella McCartney, Liv Tyler one too. I mean, I just thought the two rock star daughters that that had to
Stars,
be.
Yeah. Well, and also, I love Bill Murray and Letterman. That Bill Murray was Letterman's first guest, and he was his last guest. The other ones that. Yes. Yeah, and like the Squad chapter, that was a fun chapter for us too. And when you look at the pairings like Dave Chappelle and Eddie Murphy, and Chris Rock and Tracy Morgan, I mean that's a hell of a foursome.
That's a good dinner date.
That's a really good dinner date. In fact, we were playing this. How about this game? How about this game for a fun dinner party with everybody sitting 6 feet apart and wearing masks? Okay, the four of them. Then Susie, who would you add?
Well, I would now add,
keeping it funny,
Bette Midler, and Julianne Moore.
And then I would also add Amy Poehler and Tina Fey.
Yes.
And Carl Fine Carl Reiner.
Carl Reiner, Mel Brooks.
Yeah, we'll bring him back.
Bring them back. So
I
I
vote for,
think
I
that's
vote for Steve Martin.
Dinner party.
but you have to have like an oval, like a long dinner, that would be, and then you get up and you have to switch.
That's right.
Six cards with
Right.
macaroni and cheese, tomato mozzarella, and
Caviar.
and champagne and caviar are on the menu.
I love it.
I would love to have Steve
dinner.
Martin in conversation with those people as well. So
Right?
yeah.
That would be good.
Do we want to move on to some of the audience
He
Q&A?
does banjo.
We have some comments and I have some questions, and I'm certain that the audience does as well. So everyone's so excited to be here and so excited to have you here. They're loving this conversation. Aaron says Prince and Janelle Monáe illustrations are brilliant. Marnie says love the Lizzo drawing.
Wait a second. Okay, if that's Marnie Birmingham is a special guest star. One, because I've known her since college. Number two, she lives in St. Louis and she's a frequent
Left bank.
She's a frequent left bank shopper. Number three, in Billions of Besties, on the end pages, Susie and I have put the names of our best friends. There are two people for sure that I know of right now that are on this list. One, Marnie Birmingham, and two, Jim.
Jim and his wife, Sally, they're right there.
That's right. And Shane, if we knew you,
I'd love you.
You would be
all over this thing.
if
That's why there's got to be a volume 2.
yeah.
That's volume 2.
People are asking for a volume 2. So
Oh, you're so nice.
they've got lots of recommendations. The one that I have to ask about, and I have to, my best friend and I, we have been friends since 3rd grade. And we went through a patch where we were not even friends, not just not best friends. We were not friends.
Mhm.
And it was very distressing for both of us separately to have this period of time where someone came between us. And we thankfully have gotten beyond that, and we are now back to being best friends. I'm wondering if anyone in the book has had a comeback kid type of moment where they were friends and then they weren't friends and now they're even better friends because of their
Shane. Great question.
Yes, Samuel L. Jackson and Spike Lee. And their wives remained friends while they were on the outs. And they just said, you guys have your stuff. You're going to have to deal with it. You've got to deal with your mess. And the wives just stayed in friends. And then they worked their way through it. And then when they started to work through it. And then when Spike won the Oscar, they had worked through it. And the illustration in the book is the moment when Spike won the Oscar for Black Klansman, and the only person that was going to be able to present it was Samuel L. Jackson. So that's actually an illustration of a moment.
But it was that moment that Spike Lee ran up on stage and he jumped on Samuel L. Jackson. It was so cute. But there's another one too, and that's the one Jim was referencing earlier between Eric Clapton and George Harrison.
Yeah, that was brutal because somebody messed around with somebody's wife.
And oh, by the way, a great song came out of it too.
A great song came out of it. And I will not go into all the details because one might want to buy Billions of Besties at Left Bank Books. So you should read about it. But if your guitar could gently weep, you would then know what the outcome was. But but that was a rough patch. Talk about a rough patch. So, and then, while I was researching, I found other bumpy roads, but they didn't always have a happy ending.
Yeah, they kind of have to, like, for a book like this, they have to come back. They have to get back together and show that friendship can survive.
Yes. Well, we made it. It was very important to us. We did have this list of North Star words, and it was critical that we kept to our convictions. So you didn't get in the book if you didn't stay on the list of words.
Next question is from Tax. So Tax is asking, which came first, the story or the illustration? Or did it depend? And did you ever have to go back to the drawing board, literally?
Okay, number one, Tax. Love that name. So let's start there.
Love that.
And you know what? We did not draw and write at the same time. So when we started the book, we both had at full-time jobs. I was on tour with Oprah doing a 9-city arena tour. And so we were in pre-production last fall when we started the book. Susie is the president of a PR firm. So we were kind of, squeezed in between, I was doing it on airplanes and hotel rooms and stuff. And then, so we weren't, it wasn't linear the way we were doing it. We were doing it at different times. And then we would come together and, I'd share drawings and the writing, and we'd look at it together. And then, sometimes the writing would match what I drew, so I would make tweaks. And Susie would make tweaks, and then would fuse and make it work.
Yeah, we did have. There was one pair that did not make it in the book because we just could not tweak the writing and the illustration. So that we just could not make it work, but we ended up we changed things along the way, and our publisher was very generous about helping us work through that process.
Next question is from Joanne, and I think this is a very inspiring question, and I have ideas as well. So Joanne's asking, will the illustrations be available to purchase? Because I think these would be great, like friendship cards, which, since everyone's wanting to send like things in the mail now to save the postal service, I think these would make just inspiring and great cards to be able to send, because the illustrations paired with like kind of the inspiring words. Yeah.
From your mouth to Framework's ears.
Stay tuned.
Let me know. We'll sell them at Left Bank.
Oh.
But like your artwork, Peggy, do you is the artwork that you professionally sell, and is it similar to the illustrations for the book, or do you have like a wide range of art?
Right now I only do commission work. The stuff I do for CBS Sunday morning. And so I'm not selling anything right now other than commission work. However, there will be things coming down the pike. So follow me on Instagram at Peggy Panosh, and that's the best way to find out about how new things are developing. But actually, it's so interesting because this is the original of Marla Thomas and Gloria Steinem, and this is being shipped off to Marlo tomorrow.
Oh,
yeah, I know, right?
That's so great.
Don't tell her.
I mean, she probably follows us on Facebook.
Marty,
so.
All you guys.
Yes.
Don't say a word.
Jim, zip.
Zip it.
Zip.
So Marnie has a great question about whether
I know,
there were...
I know how you can attack me.
Yeah. Marnie is asking, or wait, where is this question? It says, Marnie has a great question about whether there was any feedback from the subjects. I missed that question.
Oh no, I just lost you.
There it is. Marnie, what sort of feedback have you received so far from the subjects of the book? Which I think is a phenomenal question, because I wonder.
We have gotten we are getting through third parties. We're getting very nice feedback from people. We're not, I mean, Marlo loves hers, and that I know, and we know Gloria loves hers, but then we're hearing through other people that people are loving their illustrations. So that's been really lovely. So and it's, you know, that's something that is just hard. That makes you feel good.
Mm.
People like theirs. How could you not?
I know. How could they not? Like, this is about their best friend.
Well,
like,
you don't have to ask.
How could you not? They're
You don't have
beautiful.
to ask Mark Twain and
Helen
what
Keller.
Helen Keller.
What a great story that was.
That was a
And
beautiful.
Helen Keller. And you're going to read this and you're going to go,
I did not know that Gertrude Stein was so nasty. That was surprising to me. She would not have made the cut had I known.
Mm.
She was not a North Star word.
I love that you chose so many, not just my favorite icons, but you chose a lot of feminist icons in this book. And I was wondering if, like, that was another one of your North Star words, like really finding women that are inspiring to women, well, people, because there are several feminist icons that are not necessarily of the women that are like feminist icons and really inspiring to a large swath of people. And I wanted to know if that was purposeful.
Definitely. I mean, you know, yes, because we looked at, you know, the friends that inspired us, you know, so from, you know, Gloria Steinem to Marlo Thomas, you know, who, like, we grew up with them, to even, you know, looking at Mary and Rhoda, who were very, you know, ahead of their time in terms of being, you know, independent working women, you know, even Lucy and Ethel, you know, and Thelma and Louise, who are totally badass, you know. So yes, I mean, the real and imagined were definitely, that was intentional and from our hearts, and like so celebratory.
And you look at you look at Beyonce and Kelly and the control that they had over their careers, and it's so important that women see what you can do. It's not just their talent as brilliant singers, but they're business women. They are intentional business women, and we are intentional business women. And, you know, it was very important. We've been influenced by a number of women and the choices that they've made. So we were very, very deliberate in those choices.
Yeah.
The fried green tomatoes squad was an important choice for us.
And also steel baked dahlias, you know, like there were so many life lessons that, you know, I learned watching these shows and these films, you know, even, you know, like Issa D and Molly Carter from Insecure, and, you know, Molly and Amy from Booksmart. You know, you know, looking at those friendships, you know, there's so much I could see of myself in their friendships. And there's so much that I've learned about friendship through watching and experiencing those bodies of work. And, again, it goes back to the magic and the alchemy that made those friendships so memorable and meaningful and magical.
And Serena and
that was good. Memorable, meaningful, and magical, Susie. It's not on the whiteboard. You guys, you can't see this, but Susie has a whiteboard on her desk. She has a new desk.
Changing.
Yeah.
So, Serena and Venus, the thing that's so impressive about that sisterhood is that Venus is the leader in that duo. Serena is the front facing leader. She's the B2C. Venus is the B2B.
We have a question from Aaron. So Aaron is asking, would you want to do
privilege of?
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
I had the privilege of interviewing Gregory Peck when he was still alive, and he talked about luck. He says, ask me about luck, and I'm going, luck. You're 6'5", you're gorgeous. You got impeccable everything. He says it takes luck, but you have to be ready for it. And he says I wasn't ready for Audrey Hepburn. And he says until I met her, and that was a revelation. Because who doesn't love Audrey Hepburn? And women, who doesn't love Gregory Peck?
Who doesn't love Audrey Hepburn?
Asking, two more questions from the audience. Aaron's asking, would you want to do a chapter on amazing animals? And spoiler, there are a couple of animals in the book, but maybe a whole chapter on animals and friends.
I think that if we did animals, we would think through it, because animals and their human counterpart, or animals and their animal best friend. So
that's chapter 1 and 2 right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then we go into the cartoon. The book's almost done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I will say, in this book, one of our favorites is the Queen and her corgis. Right.
Love that. So yeah, I guess that.
But you know what? That's a very good idea.
That is a very good idea.
Billions of Besties. Celebrating fascinating and simply exceptional animals.
Yes.
I like it.
I do. I like it.
I like it a lot.
You kind of just answered this question, but Joanne is asking, do you have any favorite besties in the book?
Oh. So one of mine is for sure Bill Murray and Letterman, because I'm a giant, huge, massive Bill Murray fan. And of course, Oprah and Neil, because I have worked with both of them. And RBG and Ashton and Scalia.
And I love Marlo and Gloria, because I love Marlo and Gloria. And and then the Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Eddie Murray, Tracy Morgan squad. And I have been able to work with 3 of the 4 of them. And that is a handful of brilliance. And the Julianne Moore, Bette Midler pair, for a number of reasons. Number 1, because they are just genius. And number 2, they are brand new best friends. They met on the set making the movie The Glorias, and they fell in love immediately. And that goes to that alchemy. And I just think that shows you that you have an open heart, you click, and the two of them are just, they sparkle.
Well, I want to thank everyone, Susie, Peggy, Jim, for doing this event. It's really just been a delightful evening, and I hope that everyone goes out and buys this book because it will cause hours of like pleasure and kind of heart lifting just swelling right now. And I think that's what we all need. Thank you for writing this book, for illustrating this book, for making this event happen, and for bringing so much joy to people's lives. So thank you.
Thank you
for having us. And I love St. Louis so much. I'm from Cleveland, and I love St. Louis, and I am so we're so honored that you had us. It was a goal for us to come to Left Bank, and I just cannot thank you enough for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like, you know, Left Bank forever. And Jim, thank you so much.
Jim, thank you so much.
You're a rock star.
You guys are the best. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's what Susie says I have in my head.
Thank you. It really, we had so much
Love
fun.
you guys.
Thank
And
you.
for the audience watching, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again. And don't forget to buy one for your friend.
And don't forget to go to Left Bank.
And don't forget Friendsgiving.
Oh, yeah.
Stocking stuffer, great gift. Christmas, great gift. And you know what? Here's the good news about the book, too. It is under $20. So you can spread a whole lot of love and goodness. And fun.
And fun. And fun. Have fun.
Stay
And
healthy, y'all.
wear a mask. Be safe and wear a mask.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.